As an industry, we sure do love creating buzzwords. Lately, we've heard a lot about 5G, mixed reality, and the metaverse. The problem is that while we're good at talking about buzzwords, we're less good at explaining the benefits they deliver. And while we're good at creating hype, we're less good at explaining the practical reality. I'm Charles Reed Anderson from AD Inc. In the next few minutes, I'm going to try to demystify my own personal favorite buzzword, digital twins. I'll explain what they are, how they relate to the future of work, why they've suddenly become so popular, and what's next for digital twins. If you've ever sat in really bad traffic, I'm convinced I can explain to you what a digital twin is. But first, I want you to remember this. Technology does not exist for technology's sake. It exists to deliver a human outcome. So if I want to explain to you what a digital twin is, I need a human to whom we can deliver that outcome. And I want to introduce you to Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy. And he hates traffic a lot. And the human outcome we want to deliver him is we want to get him home faster so he becomes less angry. He's surrounded by buses, and each of those buses is tracked by the bus company. So they know their buses are stuck in traffic, but they don't know why. Is this normal congestion, or has there been an accident? But he's also surrounded by a lot of taxis, and the taxi companies know that their taxis are stuck. But again, they don't know why. But he can also see all these CCTV cameras, and that means that the city knows there's traffic, and they can actually tell you it's not because of an accident, it's just because there's too many cars. But if we combined all that data from these different sources and then we overlaid it onto a 3D map of the city, we could get a real-time view of where the traffic is in our city and what might be causing it. And this is basically what a digital twin is. But now let's say that I get access to that digital twin, and the city was nice enough to give me the ability to change the streetlights from red to green. I could look for opportunities to help relieve that congestion. But a person doing that is not efficient. So instead, we're going to leverage artificial intelligence on top of that digital twin to learn how to identify opportunities, to reprogram the streetlights in real time and reduce traffic. And believe me, cities all over the world from Dubai to Kuala Lumpur to Beijing are doing this today. But now, back to Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy. What if I walked up to him while he's sitting in traffic and told him, I've got great news. I'm going to aggregate data that resides on multiple platforms to create a platform of platforms. Then I'm going to use some visualization software to get a 3D model so we can get a real-time view of what's happening in our city. Then I'm going to use AI to analyze the data to identify areas for improvement. I'm willing to bet that Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy is going to get even angrier with me. But what if I said this instead? I've got good news for you. I'm going to get you home faster by using this cool technology to reprogram the streetlights and eliminate this traffic jam. Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy would become less angry. So hopefully this will help you understand what a digital twin is and why we need to focus on the human outcomes that technology delivers and not the technology itself. We're seeing digital twins being adopted in a lot more places than just cities. For instance, in the offices where we work, they're being adopted to help us prepare for the future of work. And it's a similar concept to what we did with the cities. We're aggregating data that already exists. It could be from the systems that support our building, like the HVAC or the lighting. It could be the data that we're capturing about our people through spatial analytics and occupancy sensors, or from the environmental data we capture about temperature and air quality, or about the assets, whether it's about our meeting room usage or about our security robots. And all this data comes together in a platform of platforms. But that's the technical side. Now, what's interesting is in a building, we can start delivering a lot of human outcomes to a lot of people beyond technology by leveraging a digital twin. But what do we want to deliver? How do we want our employees to feel when they return to the office? Well, we want them to feel informed, we want them to be empowered, and we want them to feel engaged. And digital twins can help do that. Well, let's think about the humans we're talking about so we can deliver those human outcomes. Offices are going to have a facilities manager who runs and operates the building. They can use the digital twin to reduce energy costs and consumption, extend the useful life of their assets, streamline the operations and maintenance processes, and help the company achieve its carbon reduction targets. But it's more than the facilities manager, because think about the person who's taken on the role of a chief sustainability officer. They need different types of information out of that digital twin to support their job, but they can get information that will help them monitor carbon emissions and energy consumption. They can use that data to then implement strategies to reduce carbon emissions. And again, they can educate the employees on the role they can play in reducing emissions and report back the progress internally to our colleagues and externally to the markets about how well we're doing against our carbon reduction targets. But then as we come back to the office, we're also going to have to redesign them for the future. And we can help that person who is the workplace manager do that with a digital twin. We can help them track desk, meeting room, and communal space utilization. We can help them monitor and visualize density through heat maps, evaluate the effectiveness of workplace redesigns, and reconfigure the workplace to match usage requirements. So basically, digital twins deliver a lot of human outcomes to our employees. We can help them feel informed, empowered, and engaged. I've mentioned that we're seeing the adoption of digital twins increasing. And why is that? Well, part of it is because the business case just stacks up. For a digital twin, we're not saying you should go out and buy a bunch of new sensors or hardware equipment. What we're saying is you've got data that you're capturing already that you're not utilizing. We can combine that data and turn it into actionable intelligence that delivers value back. That means the business case is much more OPEX based than CAPEX, and finance likes that. We have the return to the office. So people are realizing that we really need to know more information about how our offices are being utilized because we have to be honest about the future of work. No one knows what it's going to be yet. And we have to be able to redefine our offices in real time to address what we're learning along the way. And digital twins can help with that. Another thing that's really driving the adoption is sustainability. And that means that digital twins aren't just going to be driven by the IT department. Because if I'm the chief financial officer and I know that the city that I'm operating in has implemented some strict net zero targets, that means they're going to be implementing very strict green building requirements. So I need to address that. But most importantly, if they start increasing my carbon taxes, that's going to cost me a lot of money. So before, while digital twins were basically being driven by people within the IT department, now you're going to get people who normally don't care about IT looking at it going, I need a technical solution to help me reduce my costs. The other thing that's happened in the past few years is the tech vendors caught on to the opportunity. You see, before we thought that you had to understand buildings and building management solutions to actually do a digital twin, but you don't. It's really a data problem, and people who are good at data can solve these problems. So suddenly, a lot of the vendors have gotten very active in this space. And probably the most interesting thing I've seen in this space is Telstra, an Australian mobile operator, partnering with Microsoft Azure to build a digital twin. Now, you might think, why is a mobile operator going into this space? Well, there's two reasons. First of all, they're going to use it internally because they've got a lot of big buildings in Australia and they can help reduce their carbon emissions and they can reduce their energy costs by using a digital twin. But then again, Telstra also happens to be the largest player in the enterprise space in Australia, which means all the businesses that need a digital twin are already customers with Telstra, so they can sell this solution to them. And people are realizing you don't need building expertise, you need data expertise. We've already seen what digital twins can do for cities and buildings, but we're finding more use cases every day. For instance, they created a digital twin of this year's Tour de France that tracked everything from the racers to the support equipment to the portable toilets used by the supporters along the race route. But the most interesting use case is still in development, and it's creating a digital twin of a person. And it's not as far away as you think. We're capturing a lot of data already. For instance, many of us wear consumer wearables like smartwatches that capture information. Some might be wearing a medical grade wearable that monitors your insulin levels or your blood pressure. When we go in for a blood test, all of that information can then be incorporated in there. Our doctors create electronic health records, so we have a digital version of that. But a lot of our health records are old, which means they're going to be physically handwritten health records. What if we could combine all those different data sources into a platform of platforms and give it to me as a user, or even better, give it to my doctor so they have a holistic view of what's happening to me? And if we have all of that, we can then link in the ecosystem and start pulling together the insurance companies, well-being providers, identify personalized supplements that we could be taking, and then all of the care providers as well. Now, this isn't that far off. There is some things blocking it right now, but I would say in the next 5 to 7 years, you'll be seeing us go a lot farther down this path. To close out, I'd like to remind you of three things. First of all, digital twins aren't some radical new technology that we should be afraid of. They're the natural evolution of the technology we have and the data that we collect today. Second, digital twins exist to deliver human outcomes. They can make Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy less angry, but when deployed in our buildings, they can be used to inform and empower our employees. And that's important as we look at the future of work. Finally, digital twins may be a buzzword. They may be overhyped at times, but they are the future of our buildings. They're the future of our cities. And eventually, they're the future of us.